Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy here once again, Manny. Welcome back to DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL, NBA, and MLB. And before I proceed, like always, guys, I appreciate you smash a like on the video. And if you're not have yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe down below. And do not forget to turn on those notifications. This way, you will not miss any of my new uploads. With that being said, today is Tuesday, May 1st, 2018. And we have another great slate tonight. 2 NBA games. We got Cleveland at Toronto for game 1 of a best of 7. And then we have New Orleans going in again at Golden State, hopefully to rebound from that horrible night they had the other night in game 1. Gonna go through the slate. I'm gonna go through each game first. Cleveland, Toronto. We'll go right into those guys right here. I got my fantasy cruncher ready to go. The other day was not working, but today it is. We have here, let's see, implied totals. We have Toronto +6. They are implied total of 110. Cleveland at 104. A couple of things to remember. Rebounds. Cleveland is 8th in the playoffs. They have 38 rebounds per game. Toronto is averaging 40. They're 7th out of the 8 teams that are left in the playoffs. They're 7th at 40 rebounds per game. Turnover ratio, Cleveland and Toronto are pretty much even. They're both tied pretty much for 5th or 6th at 14 turnovers per game each team. Field goal percentage, the upper hand is with Toronto. Toronto has been shooting at a 47.3% clip from the floor. Cleveland is 8th, dead last out of the teams that are left at 43.4%. Three-point shooting, Toronto has been number 1 throughout the playoffs, so we'll see how that goes for them today. They are shooting at 41% from the arc, and Cleveland is actually dead last at 32%. So a couple of advantages for Toronto so far as statistically. Points, Toronto's been averaging 109 during the course of the playoffs, and Cleveland is averaging 94.9, which is pretty much the last out of the teams that are in the playoffs left. They have the lowest total points per game scoring average, so they're definitely going to have to make up some ground today because Toronto could definitely put up the points. Let's touch up on the game. I'm going to go back to the fantasy cruncher, and I'm just going to go over the point guards. Matter of fact, let me just do it this way. Let me point out the New Orleans Golden State. New Orleans and Golden State. We have Golden State with an implied total of 119. Actually, almost 3 more points more today than in game 1. And New Orleans is at a 108. Rebounding, Golden State is still one of the top teams, 3rd in the playoffs at 47.4 rebounds per game. New Orleans is 5th at 43 rebounds per game. Toronto, Golden State has the edge in turnover ratio, only 13.6 turnovers per game. New Orleans is 7th at 14 per game. Pretty much balanced out there. It's not too bad. Give or take, one of the two teams don't turn over the ball as much. There is an advantage there. Field goal percentage, Golden State is 3rd at 48%. New Orleans is actually number 1 still, even with that poor game the other day. They're still at a 52% clip. So we'll see how that turns out going into game 2. Field goal percentage from 3-point range, New Orleans is 2nd at 40%. Golden State is right now 7th at 34%. I would assume that's going to definitely get better with Clay still shooting the ball well and Durant from 3. And now Draymond has some good 3-point shots the other day, as well as now Steph Curry coming back today. They're going to be scary from 3-point range, so definitely they're going to have to defend that 3-point line, the Pelicans today. Points per game, Golden State is New Orleans is still up front at 113 per game, and Golden State is at 105. That should definitely all improve. And basically, that's where we stand as far as some statistical standpoints regarding the 2 matchups. Now let's go into the fantasy crunch. I'm going to give you my take on point guards. I haven't taken anybody off the pool at all. I usually reduce it down to the ones I'm really looking at. I didn't get a chance to do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and just go through the video. It's only 2 games. I pretty much know the players, so I'll just go give you what I think, and I'll give you the best possible matchups, and we'll take it from there. All right. So point guard, we got Steph Curry. As you can see here, still has the little X there, like he's hurt. I mean, from what all indications are, he's going to play today. And this is the one thing I have to tell you guys for the audience, man. I mean, if you're really thinking of Steph Curry, I love Steph Curry. If he is 100% healthy, he's going to play today, and he has no minutes restriction whatsoever. I really like him as the best play here at point today in this slate. He's a fair start-off price of only $9,000, and we know that he has, his ceiling is through the roof. He could put up 55, 60, 65 any given day when things are right. So as long as he has no restriction, he is definitely the best play here, hands down. Other than that, Kyle Lowry, and let's just go over Steph for a moment, even though he hasn't played much. I mean, the last time he played was obviously, we're going back to March 23rd. But let's see how he has done against New Orleans this year. And as you can see, 54 in the last game against New Orleans back in December. Now, that's a long time ago. But I don't see that being any different. He had 42 and 42 the prior 2 games to that. So he has had pretty decent success. And even going back to 2016 and 17, look at those numbers, 59, 45. So it's been a while since he's had a major dud. And 32 fantasy points is respectable. But obviously it's a dud when you're paying $9,000 for him. He's $9,000 today. The last time he was on the board and had a price range, he was at $9,900. So at $9,000, you need 45, pretty much, give or take. And as you can see, he's been averaging 42 or better in the 3 games against New Orleans this year. And I know he is dying to get back in here. And trust me, this guy is going to ball out. The longest they give him the time on the floor and they give him the ball, he's going to definitely put up his shots, and he's definitely going to take a number of shots. The only drawback with that, of course, is that the other guys are going to definitely see a reduced amount of shots. Draymond, more importantly, Kevin Durant, and even Clay is probably going to get a little bit less opportunities on getting shots off. The beauty me personally, I love Steph Curry today. He's definitely a good price. At $9,000, you need 45. They're projecting him to have 38, almost 39. I think he's going to smash that, man, to be honest with you. The longest is no restriction. Don't get me wrong. If he's on a minutes restriction, it's a totally different story. Then the best play on the floor tonight, if he is not 100%, the best play will be Rajon Rondo. I'm not in favor of Kyle Lowry, and I'm just going to, I'm going to go to Kyle. He's been playing well over the playoffs. He's pretty steady. Great cash play with Kyle Lowry. I just don't see, he's not a great GPP play. I'd rather pay for Steph Curry, who is good cash and GPP play, and even Rondo as well as he's been playing. So just hear me out here. I just think Kyle, the thing about Kyle, I like Kyle Lowry. He's a good ball player. Toronto is a good team. The thing about Toronto with him, and as well as DeRozan when I get to the shooting guards, is that these guys, Lowry definitely does the things like take his shots, look for his shots, and look for his plays. He does. He's a pretty decent point guard in passing the ball and all that. He has his moments where he definitely rebounds well, but he's mostly more offensive. He doesn't get to the free throw line a lot. As you can see here, for instance, 9 of 15, 3 of 7, 3 of 4 from free throw, and then he got 6 rebounds, which is pretty good for him. The assists, definitely, he's usually in that range, 6 or 7 or better, 24 points. But you see, the fantasy points 41. Now, if he was able to hit more threes, hit more of these twos, and basically do some other things like get more rebounds, follow off some shots, extend the plays a little bit more, getting some more offensive rebounds will definitely help a long way. And he's not that type of point guard. Where Rajon Rondo, when I share with him you're going to see the difference there. So with him is that if he's hitting his shots, he's pretty good. When he's not hitting his shots, you're not going to get a whole lot of fantasy points from him. But consistent-wise, as you can see here during the playoffs, he's been at 38 plus. So I would say he's fine play, but you need 41, 42 from him today. And I think at 8,300, I'd rather pay for Rondo at 7,400, and I know that Rondo is going to get more than 30, more than 40, and he has the projection. He has the upside of getting 60, 55. He's that dangerous. It was Rajon Rondo. I think he's the second best play here, other than Curry, in this slate tonight. 39, 37, 43, 35, 42, 55. As you can see, this is all green, so that means he's hit value or better. Right? The minutes have been fantastic. 33, 35 over the last 2 games, including the last playoff game. He was actually the one guy that, even though he didn't shoot that great, he did well enough. He did more than enough to put up the 39 fantasy points. And I can see, this is what I'm trying to say here. Look at this. Only 9 points from the floor. But look at the things he does. He rebounds. He assists. He gets steals. He gets blocks. So fantasy point-wise, for the money, I'd rather pay for Rondo, who can do all these little things, something that Kyle Lowry and even DeRozan as a shooting guard does not do. And that's the only thing about these guys. They're consistently good scorers, but the little extra things like rebounding, like getting your body dirty, diving for some balls, extending an offensive play by getting an offensive rebound, okay, and then obviously getting back on defense and doing everything you can to get a steal, get a block. This is where Rondo is a better ball player right now at this moment, all around for fantasy points. Okay, don't get me wrong, for fantasy points. So I rather, and you can see it here, just in the projections that Fantasy Cruncher has. They have him at 34.59 fantasy points today, and that's only less than one fantasy point less than Lowry, and he's going to cost you $900 cheaper. It's a no-brainer. To me, that's a no-brainer. I'm gonna pay for pay for Rondo, and I'm not gonna pay for Lowry. Now Lowry may go off, and if he goes off, God bless him. And I hope so, because I really would like to see Cleveland eliminated from the playoffs. Not that I dislike Cleveland, I just don't want to see Cleveland all the way in the finals again. Just want to see a change. It's like you get bored. It's the same thing with the NFL. You don't want to see the Patriots in the Super Bowl all the time. So same thing here. We don't want to see Cleveland get, at least for me, I don't want to see Cleveland get this. So hopefully Lowry has a great series. I may put him in some lineups during the course of the series. I'm not going to put him in my lineup tonight because of price and because what he's capable of giving me for fantasy points. I'd rather go with Rondo. So that's my mindset behind that. All right, so Rondo is in play for me tonight. I think he's a great player, 7,400 with a lot of upside. Dylan Wright is definitely a good play too. He's been great off the bench and played well for Toronto. I like him a lot more than Lowry. And then of course, his price is fantastic, 5,300. You need about 26, 27, and he's been averaging 25, 24 or better. So he's definitely definitely a good play for that price. I would definitely consider Mr. Wright in some of my lineups. You could throw him in there with Curry, or you could throw him in there with Rondo and put the savings to someone in one of the other positions. So Wright is in play. I love Rondo. I love Curry. Okay, Van Fleet is also in play, but he just came back from injury. I don't know how much time he's going to get on the floor. The last time he was on the floor was Game 2 against Washington. As you can see here, 19 minutes. His usage rate was fantastic, 19, almost 20% in 19 minutes. As you can see, he did the little things you need from a guy who could play point guard. All right, he went out there, he rebounded, he passed the ball, made some assists. Okay. He's not a big, foul trouble individual, so he's pretty good with that. Defensively, he's pretty sound. He's not the best, but he's not horrible. So Van Fleet, good play at 2,500. Yeah, he'll be on one or two of my lineups tonight, and I would recommend you guys definitely find some spot to put him in, especially if we hear he's going to get some time. As long as he gets, if he can get 20 minutes, I'll be happy with 20 minutes and paying 2,500. For Mr. Fred Van Fleet. So definitely in play. George Hill, had him in some of my lineups in the last game. I wasn't in favor of him when I did the video, but I did squeeze him in because there was that possibility that he would play. And when he finally played, he was impressive. I really like what he did for Cleveland. He really turned it around for Cleveland in a way. He got to the foul line right away, and his first few shots, his first few minutes on the floor, he got on the foul line like 3 times in a row. 9 of 11 from free throw range. He didn't take a whole lot of shots, but he got 11 points and he did some other things. Rebounds, 6, assists, 3. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I look at in the playoffs. Are these guys going the extra mile for their team? George Hill did that the other day, so right now he's on my radar, and he should be on your radar too. At 4,400, he's not priced bad at all. And if he starts tonight, which I wouldn't be surprised he would, but if he does start tonight, I think he's a good play. I definitely think he's in play. I'm not on Clark and I'm not on Livingston, so let's move on. Shooting guard. We got Holiday, DeRozan, Thompson, Carver, Smith, Hood, Clarkson. You know how I feel about Clarkson. I think he's a fine player. He needs time on the court. They're not giving him the time. This is just really not working out for him here so far in Cleveland. I don't know why they made the trade if you weren't going to get this kid involved with this offense, because he could be very explosive. The only problem with him is that he gets too overly aggressive and he makes a lot of bad decisions. And that's the only thing I don't like about Clarkson. But overall, when he's hot, and he is, he's one of those guys. When he's hot and streaky, he's good to go. Clarkson definitely would be somebody in play for a low-cost play, 3,000. If he gets some minutes, let's see here real quickly. He got only 11 minutes in the last game. It's just that's not enough minutes for me. I like to see 25 plus at this time of the year in the playoffs. So my plays here will not be with Clarkson or with Hood. Definitely Drew Holiday had a horrible first game, but this kid is too good a player. He's going to bounce back. I see him having a bounce back game. As you can see, at 49 prior to that against Portland. He did had a poor one against Portland in game 3, but game 2, 52. So 2 out of his last 4 games, he's been pretty spectacular. And his percentage, his shooting rate, he just had a poor shooting night. And on top of that, not even a poor shooting night, he got in foul trouble with really some really silly fouls. Little tacky fouls early on and put him on the spot. And that's one of the reasons why he just fell off the flow of the offense. And that's enough to discourage a player and shake him up a little bit. And I think that's what happened. He had some decent looks. He wasn't burying his shots. As you can see, he only hit 4 out of 14 shots, only 1 of 4 from 3-point range. He really just didn't play that well. But when he does play well, he's very darn good. So I expect him to have a bounce back game. He's been incredible all year. Yeah, his price is a little steep, $8,400. As you can see, his price went up $100, even though he had a poor game the other day. And you know why the reason is that? The reason is because on this slate here, he's still the best shooting guard on this slate. That's the reason why. He has the best upside out of all these guys today in the game he's in. That's the reason why Fanduel knows, hey, you know what, we're going to keep that price up. So it's all on us, the fantasy players, to decide if we want to pay for him or not. And I'd be honest with you, the longest I can squeeze him in, I'm going to pay for him because I think the guy's worth it. He's capable of it. He has crazy upside. He can get you 55, 60 easy when things are going well for him. And they need a bounce back game for him today. If he has a bad game today, definitely New Orleans is in trouble. They need Holiday to be their go-to guy on top of Anthony Davis. Those are the 2 key guys other than Rondo. I mean, those are the 3 pretty much that really has to get it done for this team. So, and you know how I feel about Rondo. Rondo is in a great spot. Rondo knows, and he's going to have to be like a coach on this team because Rondo's been in the playoffs. He's been to the championship series. He knows how it is to win in the playoffs. He's won a championship with the Celtics back in 2008, I believe it was. So, Rondo is almost like a 5th coach on this team right now because he's been here and he knows what it's going to take. So I expect New Orleans and Holiday and Rondo and all these guys to have a great game today and bounce back and give Golden State a run for their money. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how that pans out. But he is the best guy in the slate, and that's the reason why $100 more for him today, even though he had that poor game the other day. They raised his price still because he's the best guy here with the best upside in this slate today. That's the reason why. So Drew Holiday definitely in play for me today, guys. I think he is worth the play. DeRozan, he's a fine play. It's just he hasn't really played that well in the playoffs. I mean, 2 games not met value, and then against Cleveland, he's had always a little bit of a rough go with Cleveland. All season long, didn't hit value. Last year, pretty much most of the games didn't hit value. Yeah, he's capable of it. He's capable of being explosive and can get things done. But again, like I said, about Kyle Lowry, it's the same with DeMar DeRozan. Solid basketball players. Really are good basketball players, but they sometimes don't extend themselves to do more. And for fantasy points, for us fantasy players, we want to see those fantasy points build up. And where you get the bulk of your fantasy points? From players that go the extra mile, that go after rebounds, that assist the ball, that make steals and blocks. That's how those points really gather up for you and get you to the next level. So DeMar DeRozan is solid. He'll give you, like right here, look at these numbers, 19-21 in the last 2 games, against Cleveland the last time we played them. Those are fantastic points in a game. But fantasy points, look at that, and only 35-31. That's just not sufficient. And it's because, as you can see here, not enough rebounds, all right? Not enough getting on the foul line. He could get in the foul line a little bit more. He could take a little bit more better percentage shots from 3, But he got steals here. He's capable of it. It's not consistent enough for me with DeMar DeRozan. So during the course of the year, I hardly ever played DeRozan. I've had him in lineups, but not a whole ton, a lot of lineups over the course of the basketball season. And the same for Kyle Lowry for that reason. It's just, so I think he's a fine play at $8,500. I'd rather pay $8,400 for Holiday. He has more upside, and he is more explosive, and he does all the little extra things that I like to see from somebody who plays a shooting guard or plays guard. But again, it's a preference. That's what I believe is. And then look at, I mean, they're projecting him at 35, and they have Holiday at 40. I mean, why would you pay 85 for him unless you really felt he was going to go off against the Cleveland Cavaliers? And the Cavaliers are pretty solid usually up front. Their problem is in the backcourt. They had trouble with the point guards throughout the year, Cleveland, but they had more troubles with small forwards and power forwards, which they really didn't have a whole lot with Bogdanovich. He could never get anything going against Cleveland for whatever reason. But I think a more athletic small forward would definitely have a lot more success with the Cavaliers, or a more physical presence type of small forward. Anyway, but DeMar DeRozan in play for those who want to. I say stick with Holiday. If you're going to pay $8,500, might as well pay $8,400 for Holiday. I think he's the better play. Klay Thompson is also an awesome GPP play. As you know, I favor GPPs because I play mostly GPPs than anything else. And he has been playing well, 41 and 37. The only drawback with Klay Thompson today is that Steph Curry has a large amount of minutes on the floor today. If he is back and he is not in a minutes restriction, he is going to definitely get a reduction in floor time as well as shots. So that's the only drawback with Klay Thompson today. But I still think at 68, not bad at all, especially that they're projecting him to have 32. That's only 3 less than DeRozan. And look at his price, only $6,800. So I'm looking at that. If I'm going to pay, I'd rather go with the GPP play in Klay Thompson. If you want more of a cash play, a little more solid, maybe DeRozan might be good, and maybe a good play. You still need to get 43, 44 for him, or almost 45. It's a lot of points. Klay Thompson, definitely the better play here today. Out of the lower tier players, I said I'm not on Clarkson or Hood simply because they're not going to play a whole lot of minutes. J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver for this slate, I mean, yeah, those are the best 2 possible plays. You got Korver, 2 horrible games, did play sufficient minutes, just did not get in the flow of the offense. If he gets in the flow of the offense and he hits his shots, they're going to feed him the ball more. That's the way it is with Kyle Korver. When he's hot, they look for him because they know that he is going to be gunning. But he has not shot well in the last 2 games, and that's one of the reasons why he's going to have a problem. If he doesn't get hot, then he's not going to be a good play. And not only that, as you can see here, Toronto is very good against shooting guards. I mean, they're number 1 in the NBA during the course of the year. J.R. Smith, 19 points in the last game, respectable, 35 minutes. I would rather go with Smith simply because of this, minutes. 34, 35, 33, 28, 35. He's getting sufficient shots, anywhere between 8 to as much as 11 or 12 shots, and he's going to take some threes. And if he gets hot from three-point range, he is another one. So he's very dangerous, definitely a good upside, definitely a good GPP play. I am all over J.R. Smith as a value play today if I wanted to go that route. I mean, that's entirely up to you guys. I love Holiday. I wouldn't mind pairing up Holiday with Thompson if I can get value somewhere else. So this way I don't have to go with the lower play here. But if I so choose, I think in 1 or 2 of my lineups, I would definitely probably have J.R. Smith or Kyle Korver. I don't know exactly whom right now. I would probably favor Smith more, and I'm definitely not on Hood on Clarkson. Let's move on to small forward. At small forward, LeBron James, he's been the man all playoff long. There's no doubt he's in play. His price is up there at 13, so you really need him to produce. But he's been on fire. 74. He had this 43, little dud game, 43, which is, for anybody else, that is a marvelous game. 69, 63, 70 spot over here in a 54. I mean, he's good for 50 plus. He's definitely a good cash play. I can't see him getting less than 40. It would be a horrible shooting night and a great defensive a scheme by Toronto to be able to shut this man down for him to only put up about 40 or less fantasy points. Or unless he gets injured, God forbid. We don't want that to happen to him. But I think he's good. I think he's solid for 45, 50 plus. I don't see no reason why anybody, even for 13,000, I think you can get value somewhere else. Everybody should try to squeeze in LeBron James. He's probably going to be very much chalk today with only the 2 games on the slate, but definitely a good play. Kevin Durant in play. Projected to put up 46 in his last game. 10,500, decent price. I guess they know what they're doing over there at Fanduel because, with Steph Curry coming back, we know there's going to be a slight reduction for Kevin Durant. Now, granted, Kevin Durant plays a lot on the floor at times with Steph, and then there are those moments where he's on the court and he's the one who's in charge of in the flow of the offense, and Steph is taking a break. Pretty much how they do it with Harden and Chris Paul in Houston. So I expect no different here. He's still going to get his maybe 19 plus or 18 plus shots, and he's still going to get his 30 plus minutes. So I think he's still a great play. If you're going to go with anybody in Golden State, you probably would go Steph and Durant. I would like more Steph with Draymond Green, because he'll be a little bit more cheaper, and he has still very good upside, and he's been playing very, very well, probably playing the best out of all the Golden State Warrior guys. We'll check on him in a moment. But 46, 43, 52, 21, 19, 28 shots. I mean, the threes are pretty decent. 3 of 6 was terrible the game before that at 1 of 8 and 4 of 13. Those are horrible shooting nights. But, he does all the little things that you want to see. He rebounds. He passes the ball a little bit. He committed a lot of turnovers during the course of the last series. It doesn't get into foul problems. That's always good, and he's always out there rejecting some balls and maybe even getting some steals. So he does do a little bit of everything. I would say Kevin Durant is definitely in play. I think the best play obviously is LeBron James, because LeBron could just go out there and probably put up 60, 70 again today. But Kevin Durant at 10-5. You got to get, 50, 52, 53. He's capable of it. He's not quite there in the last few games, but he's definitely capable of it, especially against a team like New Orleans that is really just more of a fast-paced and not really a strong half-court defense team. This is definitely a good spot for him. As we go down from after Durant, everything else here is cheap. Everybody's fairly cheap. So it's you have your taking to go here and go 2 studs here and go cheap everywhere else. But if there is any value, this is the one area I think there is value. You could go with a James or a Durant, and you right away can go with an Iguodala or Etuan Moore. Etuan Moore has been playing fairly well and is getting minutes. But Etuan Moore, 19 and 27 in the last 2 games, did definitely do poorly against Portland in the last game of the season against San Antonio Spurs. But his minutes have been okay. Thinking about it, 22 minutes in the last game, that's a little low, but he was very efficient. 23% usage rate. He had 11 shots. He shot 7 of 11 from the floor, and he hit 1 of his threes. And that's pretty much it. He definitely got into foul trouble. He had 4 fouls, but he's been pretty much getting decent minutes throughout the whole entire year. He starts for the team, but he definitely gets a lot of floor time. So, I'd like him there at 4,300. Man, you need 21, 22 from him. And you can see he's very much capable of getting that, and he's capable of putting up 30 plus, 35 at that price. Iguodala, fine play also, 21 in his last game, 23 minutes. He has thrown 31, 26. Now, of course, Iguodala was starting, so we're going to see him have a little bit of a reduction in minutes now with Steph Curry back. He might not be the best play here. Like I said, I think it's Etuan Moore. And if you're not looking at Etuan Moore as a low play, consider this guy here, Anunoby. 8 and 10 the last few games, only 20 and 22. But he's going to have to, he's a more athletic small forward, and he might be able to defend LeBron a little bit better. And not only that, like I said before, I think in my previous video, and I have those stats right here, they struggle. We all know that they struggle with small forwards, but I also believe they struggle more with small forwards that are very athletic. This guy is very athletic. He's a young guy. He's only, 20 or 21 years old. He is very athletic. This guy, he's willing to crash the boards. He's willing to do a number of things. And I think OG will be really a very sneaky play here. And look at his price for today, $2,500. Man, you can go with LeBron James and you can throw OG there. Just both of those guys, stack them up. And you got OG defending him. He's not going to stop LeBron. But you know what I'm saying is that he may have some opportunity because of his explosiveness as being a younger player and very athletic, that he may be able to put up some points. And at 2,500, they're projecting him to have 17. That's automatically smashing the value. So they're projecting him to have more than enough. At 2,500, I think he's a steal, and not only that, he's more than likely a starter in this series. He was a starter in the last series until he got a little hurt. But he's back. He's healthy. I don't know. I think he's a very sneaky, good value play. Probably the lowest value play of the low in this series and in this slate today. 2,500. If he has a nice night tonight, obviously that price is going to go up. But I think at that price, I'd rather take him than Darius Miller. Even though Darius Miller in the last game, 23 fantasy points in 25 minutes. He shot 3 of 7 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3-point range. He loves to shoot the 3. And he did some other nice things, man. 6 assists. He had 3 rebounds. He had 1 steal. He gets into foul trouble time to time, but not in this series. As you can see, he hasn't been in foul trouble in a while. He's not a bad player, man. He's just obviously the floor of the offense goes around Davis and of course Drew and of course Raja Rondo. But when he gets his open looks, this guy usually knocks them down. He's pretty efficient from back there. So I like him too. At 3,500, I think he's definitely on some of my lineups. So there you go. 2 value plays at small forward. You got Anunoby and you got Darius Miller. Other than that, each one more. But if you're going to pay up, definitely pay for Durant or just go all the way up to James. I don't see why not. You're not going to lose there at all. Power forward, we got Draymond Green, Marichik, Love, Ibaka, Sakem, Looney, West, Green, Larry Nance. I'm not on any of these guys in the bottom, even all the way through West. If there's anybody low value, it'll probably be Kevon Looney. Looney has gotten some minutes in time. But let's go right to the top. My favorite play here is Draymond Green. He's 8,800 and projecting to put up 38. But look at this Green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of his last 6 games. He's hit value. He's actually smash value. And his minutes have been good. In the last game, put up 62 in this blowout, and he only played 30 minutes. He was the most, I think he had like about 30 somewhat plus fantasy points at halftime. So he got off really to a good start with assisting the ball, rebounding. And this is what I like about him. He does a little bit of everything. And look at that. 2 blocks, 3 steals. He doesn't, he wasn't in no foul problems. And as you can see, look at the fantasy points, 62, and look at the points he put up from the floor, 16. This is exactly what I'm talking about, guys. These are the kind of guys you're looking for. When guys are in rhythm like this and they do these kind of things like rebound, assist, steal, block. You don't have to shoot that well from the floor. 5 of 9 and 1 of 2. He only took 11 shots other than 6 free throws in the entire game in 30 minutes, and he put up 62.5 fantasy points. That's what we're talking about. Look at the game prior to that, 49. He got 17 points from the floor. He was a little bit of foul problems, but 19 total rebounds, 7 assists. Okay, he shot 5 of 11, a little about 40% from the floor, 2 of 7 from 3, and he got to the foul line. So he did a little bit of everything. That's what you want to see. With Draymond Green, when he's playing well and everything's going right, he is possibly able to get a triple-double almost every time he's on the floor. So definitely a guy that you should definitely consider, especially in a game like this against New Orleans, which they are just like all offense and their defense is not the greatest at all. But neither is Golden State. This is why this is a good offensive matchup series. These teams should be able to score a lot of points. So that's where I'm at right now. I really think Draymond Green is definitely good play. I'm definitely all over Draymond Green today. I love him with Steph Curry, and then just not pay for Durant and Klay Thompson. I think out of the 4 Golden State Warriors, my best play would be Curry with Green. And if you're going to go anywhere else and you wanted to triple stack these guys somehow and put them in, then you're definitely going to have Durant, Green, and Steph Curry. I think Klay Thompson is the 4th option here. It really is. But then again, that's my opinion. I'm just trying to give you the best possible advice. But those are the guys I will be looking at. So Draymond Green definitely in play, guys. I think he will cover that with no problem. Marichik, if this guy can get going, he is a fine play too. 7,400, not a bad price. He has to get 36, 37, and that's what they're projecting him to get, 37. And let's see here. He has had 1 dud game, and before that he had 38, 54. Another dud game, and then 50. And then he ended the season with 43, 52, 50, 55, 34. He's been mostly in the green. And all the points he shot. Look at the rebounds. All right, he's not a big assist guy because we know he's an offensive shooter, but he's a shooter that can hit the mid-range shot. He hits the threes, and he's willing to get under the boards and get the rebounds and get those putbacks. And this is the reason why his points look good, rebounds look good, and of course his shots are good. And the most he's getting minutes, he's getting shots, he's doing these little things like this dirty work. Those are the kind of players I like for fantasy basketball. That's how you're gonna get the points. So definitely in play at 7,400. I like him there. If I can get him and Green, I will do everything I can to do that. Kevin Love broke out of it. Finally played a little bit better in the last game against Indianapolis. 23 fantasy points, 32 minutes, just a little bit better. He got a little bit. I saw he was a little bit more on the floor of the offense. He hit a few threes. He was 50% from there, as you can see, 4 of 8. Still not quite with the rebounds, man. He's not my favorite play by all means at all in this series or against Toronto. Matter of fact, we'll look to see how he's done against Toronto. He has done fairly good. Last 2 games against Toronto, 40 and 45. Big shootout games, 112-106 win, and they've won both of those games. 29 minutes apiece. Usage rate in the game before that on March 21st, he was really high, almost 30%. He shot 8 of 15, 4 of 6 from 3. Got to the foul line a little bit, and he did what Kevin Love does best, and that's rebounding. I haven't seen him with that kind of rebounding intensity during the last 4 or 5 games or 6 games that I've seen him play. So, I mean, if he can get it going, at some point he's going to break out and he's going to be more like Kevin Love. They need him to step it up. At his price, $6,300, he's cheap right now. 63. You know, we know he's capable of being an $8,000 fantasy player. So 6,300. You need 32 from him. He's capable of it. That's the whole thing. He has tremendous ceiling. Good GPP play for tonight. If you want to go with Kevin Love, I'm not on him, but we know he's a fair play, and for that price, you could take a stab at him. Serge Ibaka, I think, is a better play tonight. 4,700. All right, he has not looked good here against Washington. 10, 24, 9, and 15. He has played 23 minutes or better in those 4 or 5 games. He just didn't shoot well, obviously, in his last game, 3 of 10 and 1 of 3. And surprisingly, not enough rebounds, but we know that he's capable of being a pretty decent rebounder. And it's not so much so that he's been getting in foul problems, so it's not that. It's just the flow of the offense is not going his way. It's obvious it's been going with Dillon Wright, with DeRozan, Lowry, and the guys up front. In the backcourt. So. But I think here against Cleveland, because Cleveland has trouble with power forwards. Matter of fact, I clicked on him. Did I check to see how he's done with Cleveland? Yeah, he had a 32 spot against Cleveland. Sorry about that, guys. 32.9 in his last game against Cleveland, and that was back last month, only about a month ago on April the 3rd, in a 112-106 loss. He played 29 minutes, 27%, 26% usage rate was pretty darn good. As you can see, he got more shots. When he can get this many shots and play 29 minutes or better, I think he is definitely a good play. And he was only 5,600 in that game, and he smashed value. He's 47 today. So he's in a very good spot. We know Cleveland is not that good at all with the big guys up front, especially small forwards and power forwards. They have given up, let me see here, they have given up power forwards, yes, Anunoby. You should look at Ibaka. I have he is listed on my sheet. They've given up 11 big games to power forwards and 12 to point guards and 11 also to small forwards. Bogdanovich did not take advantage of that. Cleveland did play him well enough, but then again, Bogdanovich is not a very athletic, fast player. This is where Anunoby is in a good spot, and even Ibaka is a little bit more better. Not only that, Ibaka has a lot of playoff experience, which comes into play here as well. It will help this Toronto team. So I like Ibaka today at 4,700. I think he's definitely fairly cheap. I think he's definitely someone you can consider. I would love Green or Maričić more. Love is okay. I'm not in love with Love, so I'm not going that route. Siakam and Looney are good low value plays. I like Looney better. I think Looney's been getting a little bit more time. He's got 24, 23 in the last 2 games that he has been in the play. He actually, against San Antonio, he played 23 minutes, 13 and 22. And then over here, 19 minutes in that loss the other day, 24 minutes. 24 minutes, and now he put up 19.7 fantasy points. He only took 1 shot. So, but he's there to rebound. He did have 3 assists. He did have a steal, did have a block. That's what you want. He did get in foul trouble a little too soon. I think in the first few minutes on the floor, he already had picked up 1 or 2. But he did get enough time. 24 minutes, I think that's fairly decent time for someone that's going to be priced at 3,600. So I think at the bottom level here, Looney's a good play. And other than Looney down here, other than Green and Maričić as the best play, Ibaka I think is a pretty decent low value play, and Looney will be another, and definitely Jeff Green. I'm not on Nance or Bell for whatever reason. I just like Green better. Green 21 minutes in the last game, 13 fantasy points. Numbers don't look pretty. 1 of 5 from the floor, 0 of 2 from 3-point range. He really was not shooting that well, but he did get to the foul line. And of course, he always gets usually a steal or something. He does something good to help the team. He had a block. 1 assist, 1 rebound. I mean, it wasn't that great of a game for Jeff Green. But if he comes off the bench and he finds himself in rhythm with the offense, he usually does fairly well. He'll give you, 6 or 7 shots. He'll get himself. He gets you the fantasy points that you probably need for that range. For someone that you're gonna get for 17 or 18 fantasy points, he's not a bad play. I'm not favoring any of these guys. I think if you need to go cheap, you can go with Looney or Green. But obviously, as you can see, the numbers, neither one of them has been really outstanding. So I would say pay up here and go cheaper somewhere else. You could do that right away by going to center. Center is obviously only 4 or 5 plays here. I'm not on McGee and I'm not on Jacob Pulte, but Tristan Thompson, Valanciunas, and Anthony Davis, I definitely would put them in different lineups. Anthony Davis, they have him here almost with a 59 today. He's valued at $12,700. You got to get 57 from him, 58, and they project him to have 59. So I mean, obviously there's a good chance that he can do that. He is playing against Golden State. Let's see what he is. We'll just go and recap here: 47, 68, 59. 46. He's done 46 or better over the last 4 games. Against Golden State, he had that 47 in Game 1, but prior to that, he did have a 70 spot, a 56, and a 68. So he's been at green throughout the season against Golden State, other than their first playoff game. So we expect Anthony Davis to have a bounce-back game. And if they are to win today, he definitely has to have a massive game. We know he's going to play a lot of minutes. We know he has tremendous upside. He's definitely a good cash play for tonight, guys. And I also believe he is a great GPP play because he may just light it all up. So Anthony Davis is one of my favorite plays here at center for this slate today. But if you wanted to go cheaper, obviously Valanciunas is also a good play. Even though Cleveland it says here Cleveland is ranked 3rd, he had 36 and 41 in the last 2 games. He's finally getting 30 minutes or more. For those who have been following me long enough, you know in my previous videos throughout the season, I always complain on why Valanciunas is only getting 21, 22, 23 minutes a game, and he's putting up 30, 34 fantasy points. Let this guy play, he could get you 40 or 50. Well, now they're doing it, and it's finally, they're starting to realize, hey, we need this guy on the floor, and let's get him out there and let him play. Valanciunas is not the greatest defender. He's not a guy that fouls a whole lot, so definitely a big plus for Toronto. But it'll be a nice matchup. Valanciunas, I think he's fair. 6,500, you need 33 from him. I think he can definitely do that in this series against Cleveland, especially if they don't have no Tristan Thompson. But Tristan Thompson is a good athletic center. He's leaner, he's quick, he's a hustler. 31 fantasy points in the last game. Definitely really just, surprised me when they put him on there. Look at his price today, guys. I mean, 2,000. I'm going to have a lineup. I'm going to have a few lineups with Tristan Thompson with TT in there. You got to. At $2,000. What is Fanduel? Fanduel is enticing us. They're giving us a shot here to take Tristan Thompson. Now, if I hear he is going to start, I definitely want a piece of Tristan Thompson today. He played very well the other day against Indiana. It's going to be a totally different story with Valanciunas. Valanciunas is a better center physically and as a defender than Turner, even though Turner is very athletic. For whatever reason, Tristan took the best out of that young kid. Tristan is a little older than Turner that he just played. Turner, I think, he's 20, 21 years old, whatever. He's 22 years old. He's fairly young, but he definitely did his work. He definitely did his thing, man, the other day. So TT definitely in play for me today. If he starts and he's going to get 30 minutes or so, which he's been resting far too long, this guy's ready to go. Let him play, man. Other than he's having his issues with the Kardashians, let him put his mind into this game and let him go out there and ball his ass off. So I like Tristan Thompson today at $2,000. That's a steal with a projection of 18. Give me 31 again at that price, man. I love you. All right, so Tristan Thompson is definitely in play for me today. I think the best plays obviously are Davis and then Valanciunas. He's definitely 3rd. There's no interest in Jacob or JaVale, so I'm not interested in those guys, and that's pretty much it, guys. A couple of things to remember here. I think there are some sneaky plays today. Like I mentioned before, Cleveland struggles with small forwards, power forwards, and point guards, guys. So definitely focus on those guys. I'm not too much in favor of Toronto's Kyle Lowry against Cleveland. I like maybe DeRozan a little bit more. in that series, but Lowry could be sneaky. I like the reserves that come off the bench for Toronto in Van Fleet, okay, and as well as Mr. Wright. So definitely those are the guys that I'm considering there. And so just remember at power forward, at small forward, you can definitely concentrate on OG, and on power forward against Cleveland, watch out for Ibaka, because the Cleveland has given up big games. I'm talking about 40+ fantasy point games to these positions during the course of the year. Not so much so over the playoffs, okay, but I'm still trying to take into account of how they played throughout the year. So there is that possibility. Ibaka being a little bit more of a player that can get hot and can do some things and be very offensive minded and get some points up. I think he's a fair play, as well as OG, because he's very athletic, may give them a hard time if they feed him the ball. And at 2,500, I think he's a steal. At center here, obviously, I'm in favor of Valanciunas, but then again, Tristan Thompson, 2,000, he's going to be in some of my lineups, especially if he's in the starting lineup. I think after his performance the other day against Indiana, there shouldn't be no reason why they should not put Tristan Thompson to play, especially that he has a little bit of a bigger frame, and let him go and try to defend Big Jonas. Jonas Valanciunas is going to be tough, so they're going to need him on the floor. And Valanciunas is a good play because he's finally getting minutes. And we know this guy's capable of getting rebounds. He's capable of scoring. He's capable of hitting threes. And he's a pretty decent free throw shooter. So a lot of good advantages with Valanciunas on the floor for Toronto. He may be the sneakiest play out of all. He may be the one top guy that can help Toronto really be that good against Cleveland, in my eyes, in my opinion, other than, DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. He may be the one that may come up with the more fantasy points out of the three every single game. I really feel that could possibly very well happen in this series for Toronto. So feed the guy the ball, let him be on the court. This is it. This is for all the marbles. You want to get to the next round. You want to get to the finals. You're playing in the playoffs. It's do or die almost every single night. Just go out there and let your key players play. So hopefully, the coach will let them stay on the floor. In the New Orleans Golden State series, key guys to really, stay focused on. Like I said before, I think here you really got to concentrate on Rondo when we go to point guard. Rondo's been fantastic. I think at 7,400, he is a bargain to me, and it's my opinion. Steph Curry, if he plays and he's playing at no minutes restriction, he is definitely the best point guard on the slate today. And then I will favor Rondo, the next guy. If you can pair up Rondo with Curry, that'll be a good deal too. So definitely look for that. I'm not on anybody else here on the floor. Shooting guard, obviously I'm interested in Holiday. Thompson is a good play, other than, unfortunately, he's probably going to get a little reduction in shots and a little reduction in minutes with Steph on the court. But when Steph is not on the court and Clay is on the court, he may be one of those guys that's going to take, obviously. So it's tough to determine, but from what I've seen through looking at statistics of them being on the floor, they all do well with each other and without each other on the floor. But the best combination for me today would be Steph with Draymond Green or Steph with Durant. So if you wanted to go that way with Golden State players, I think that's the way to go. At small forward in this series, Durant obviously in play. I'm not too much on Iguodala. I do like Etuan more here, and Darius Miller will both be decent plays, preferable and more over Miller. So definitely keep in mind here that Golden State, and matter of fact, Golden State has allowed 18. Okay, and looking here on my stat sheet that I wrote down, paperwork as I follow these teams, 18 big games they've given up of 40 fantasy points or better to small forwards. Not that they're going to give a 40 to each one more, but he has an opportunity here. Golden State, definitely fumbles up a little bit against small forwards. So you never know what he's on. He's in 1-2. He gets in rhythm. He gets hot. He starts shooting balls. They're going to feed him the ball a little bit more. They know that they open up the floor a little bit more if they get Drew shooting well and scoring, and they get Anthony Davis down low scoring, and then you can kick it back out and get more to hit some threes, or even Miller. And it just really becomes a scary team on New Orleans when that happens, and that's what happened to Portland. They're going to need to turn it around tonight to be able to get that to happen for them against Golden State, which can happen. Golden State is a team that you can score points on, but we'll see what happens. But I like more as a cheap value play at power forward in this series. Draymond Green, best possible play here. I love him with Steph Curry as part of a major core in my lineup, so I definitely will have a lot of Draymond Green today. Meritic, if he can get hot, he is He is like one of the missing link. He is like the link among New Orleans. If they can do well, and this guy can get hot and do well as well, that takes them to a whole nother level to compete against Golden State. So we really need Mr. Merichuk to play well. I think he's definitely in play today. And then the bottom tier here, I'm not on anybody, to be honest. West does get a little bit of minutes, so just as well as Looney, but I don't know. I think I'll get that value somewhere else and pay up. Anthony Davis definitely in play, and other than Anthony Davis, that is basically it. So in this game here, this particular game, the best center is Anthony Davis. So if you can get him in there and get value somewhere else, which I pointed out a few other guys, I think that'll be the way to go for you guys. And that's basically it, guys, man. That's what I'm looking at today. Enjoy the ball games. I know I will. I'm going to start making my lineups now. I'm going to probably make about 3 or 4 lineups for this 100K. I know they got a 10K going, and they got another one. I don't know if it's 5K, and of course they got a couple single entries, but I like to do those as well. So I'm going to get my lineups together and crunch this stuff up. And hopefully, I'll have some good news to report tomorrow. You always want to report some good news to your audience and say, hey, you know what, I cashed in. I did cash last night. I tried that last night, that 5-player thing. I won $14 back, but I made 3 teams. And so obviously I took a little bit of a loss, but I gained some of my money back. I didn't do too much. I did 3 games, three lineups, and I actually one lineup scored, I think, a 230 or 240. It got me $14 or something like that. I'll put that photo of that up. I put all my photos up, guys, on my IG account. So anybody ever wants to check out my winnings, or any other, this way you can get an idea of who I played. That information will be on my Instagram account. So definitely you can go onto my Instagram at DFS Zone, and you'll be able to see my results on a daily basis when I win. When I lose, I don't post anything up. I basically will tell you in the video I lost badly. It's no reason for me to deny that. But other than that, that's basically it, man. Guys, God bless. Have an awesome day, man. We'll see you tomorrow. DFS Zone. Your boy Manny is out again. Like the video, I'd appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, please don't forget, subscribe down below. Let's get it going. And don't forget to turn on those notifications. This way, as I put up videos every day, you guys will get those videos right away. So this way you have time to take a look at it, see what I got to offer, what kind of advice I can give you, and you can make your decisions on your lineups every single day. And soon, NBA is going to be almost over. When I'm done with the NBA videos, I'm going right into the MLB. So I'll be ready to go at it and crank out some videos for you every single day regarding the MLB. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. All right, guys. God bless. Have a great day. Your boy Manny is out.